Hello and welcome to this live broadcast. Thank you for joining me. Today I'm going to be talking about really how you can use your old brain to really empower your sales process. So this is really about how your old reptilian brain can really accelerate your sales. But first of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Janice B. Gordon. I am the problem solver. And what I do is I help businesses grow by really tapping into their customer relationships, and really growing those relationships and understanding how they can get best value out of those relationships. Because as you know, if you haven't got a customer, you don't have a business. And so, it's really important for you to nurture and cherish those relationships. And I give you lots of strategies as to how to do that. So I grow businesses one customer, one buyer, one client at a time. And the strategies that I share with you on this live training are the strategies that I use within the companies that I work with. And one company I worked with, I helped them to grow their business by over 6 million in less than a year. So these are well tried and tested strategies, and I'm always pushing the envelope. But I'm very much aware that you have a lot to do in your very busy lives, running businesses and managing your companies and your employees, and growing your business relationships. So what I do is I introduce the tools and tips, make it really simple for you to understand, because after all, if you do not get it, you're not going to use it. So today we're talking about motivating your buyers, really motivating them into action, and using the tools that we have in here to actually do that. So I'm going to explain more about that. And so the sales blog talks about the old reptilian brain. The sales brain took this as a company. They talk about the old reptilian brain, and there's lots of research by neuroscientists that's been done on this. So the middle bit of our brain, the little nub in our brain, that works in the way that it helps us to make decisions. And so there's really 6 stimuli that are very much connected to this part of our brain that can help us to grow our business. And so the fact is that buyers, what they do is they buy on emotion. They make their logical decisions, they justify their decisions logically, but they actually buy on emotion. So you must inspire them emotionally. That's what you must do. And where that comes from is this part of the brain. Of course you must offer a great quality of service, but it's the emotion that really gets them to buy. And then price becomes secondary to the whole decision making process. So that's why it's really important for you to listen up and actually to use a lot of these 6 stimuli to actually help you to help your customers and your clients and your buyers to make a decision. So this is because the primary decision making tool is based there in our brain, in the old reptilian brain, and it's based on emotion. And so it's important to really kind of understand that. So let me introduce you to the 6 stimuli according to Sales Brain, the 6 stimuli that will help you to really tap into the things that get your buyers to buy. So the first one is about being self-centered. What's in it for me? And we all know this when we are actually purchasing something or listening to a sales pitch or listening to anything, we're thinking about where's my part in all of this. So the reptilian brain really thinks about it. What's in it for me? Why should I be listening to this? And so it's really important in any presentation that you do, you're thinking about answering that question. question for them. That's the important thing. So it's about being self-centered and really kind of like focused on me. What's in it for me? That's what your buyer, that's what your listener is actually doing. And so it's important you present your products in what's in it for you, what's in it for the buyer, what they're going to gain from it. And then the second stimuli is about contrast. Contrast, it really helps us make decisions, between black and white, from the really kind of bright and shiny. We really want to know, what is the difference? What's the difference? The clear difference this is going to make. But not only that, as a salesperson, you really have to understand the whole market and explain it to your customers. They're expecting you to do a lot of that work, to really understand what their business, and really understand all of the different options and explain what the differences are between the different options. So you need to be clear about your clear differentiator, what is unique and different about what you're offering and delivering your product to your service. The third area is making it tangible. That's the part in the reptilian brain they're thinking about. Is this real? That is thinking about, is this familiar? Is it safe? How easy is it? And so what you need to do is you need to explain the step-by-step process. You need to break it down so it's bite-sized. You need to make it really easy for your buyer, your client, your customer to understand. Make it tangible, make it real, make it really simple and easy. And then the fourth stimuli is about beginning and end, and really making sure that, the beginning and the end is a real big bang. The reason for that is the reptilian brain has a short attention span, and, they tend to catch things at the beginning and the end. When they know it's ending, then they listen up, and they're beginning. You need to really capture your buyers, your customers, with the beginning, so that what comes in is, what's in it for me? So the beginning will actually answer, is this worth listening to? This is why the beginning of articles are really important, and this is why headlines are really important, because if the headline doesn't get the buyer, doesn't get the listener, the reader, they're not going to read any further. So it's exactly the same here. Make sure the beginning and the end is relevant, and is a big bang, and load it with the information they really need to know, which will answer, I'm going to continue to listen to this. So, front load and back load your presentations, the beginning and the end. And then the fifth area is around visuals. Visuals, this is why videos become so important these days, but not only visuals, but visual words are really important as well. So what happens with visuals is that it leads very fast, and it's a fast and effective way of making connections. So if you think about it, when you're visualizing something, when you're using visual words, it actually gets both parties, you and the buyer, you and the listener, on the same page quickly and efficiently. You're both in the same space when you're visualizing the same thing, so it's a real shortcut. So visuals are really important, and it means that the old brain gets it really quickly. They're with you on it really quickly. And then we have emotions. This is the sixth stimulator. Emotions are really important. Remember, this is why people buy. They buy on emotion and they justify it on logic, but they buy on emotion. There's no point having the justification if they're not there emotionally, really, because then they don't need to justify it because they haven't brought it emotionally. So emotions are really important. One way is to get into the emotion is to tell stories, to bring people on the journey with you. So the reptilian brain really likes this. It really triggers emotions by storytelling. Like if you it's a way of you connecting really quickly, brain to brain, old brain to old brain. It's a really great way of you kind of connecting to your buyers. And so use these six stimuli. But now I'm really interested in how you can enhance your sales process through the six stimuli. So what I'm going to do is give you 26 bite size. Really simple kind of ways to actually do that, to kind of break it down a bit further for you. But connecting between people is really about the social technology allowing you to do that. And so whether it's online or whether it's offline, social technology has become one of the valuable sources of trusted information. Really has. Like, it's not just Google search, but it's Twitter and Facebook. We gather a lot of information and LinkedIn from all of the articles through these social platforms. So it's important for you to utilize that, because you can't be everywhere, but you can online be almost everywhere by the information that you put out and the way that you put out your profile, your information. So it's important to utilize these technologies, because you're searching for information on this space, but your buyers are searching for information in the same space as well. So it's important to actually utilize it. And it's in business to business, it's still people to people. And I know you've heard it's like a catchphrase. I know you've heard that before. But, the important thing to realize, what's happening now is that companies are utilizing their employees' personal platforms to amplify the message. The reason is that when you buy from a company, you buy from an individual, you connect with that individual. And so, if that individual sends out a message, you're more likely to trust it and listen to it because you trust them, that individual, than you are from the corporate brand. So corporate brands now are utilizing the personal platforms of their employees. So whether you're in customer service, whether you're a salesperson, whoever you are in the company, you have the ability to amplify the message through your personal platform that can really cut through way more than the company. And this is why personal platforms are really important. It can build your expertise, it can build your profile, but you're trusted. People are more likely to listen to you on that. So companies are really kind of like getting on board to that and to understand that now. So business to business is still people to people. And, socially, it's about capturing all of that ability to amplify that message through your people. So you're an important part of that. So you really need to think about your personal platforms are no longer personal. They really are, because people buy you. So you need to think about the kind of messages that you're sending out, the kind of image that you're giving. And, not to be corporate, really to be personal in your personal space can still actually build you as a personality and, for your expertise as well. So really thinking about what you're actually putting out on your own personal platforms. But, potential buyers and customers always learn more through your personal blog, your Twitter, your Facebook, your LinkedIn. They learn more about you, but also you know more and learn more about them as well. So you need to be connecting with them on all of the platforms as well. So I'm going to share with you just another great insight from Jill Rowley, and she argues that social networks can establish your expertise. I think we've moved on from all of the kind of personal branding that everyone jumps on board really, and doesn't necessarily kind of cut through and have a massive effect. It's really about your personality, your authenticity, and building trust. But like Jill really has kind of like created the 5 pillars of social selling, Jill Rowley, and her strategies are around all of that. And they are personal credibility. And it's really about what I've said about building your personal credibility through your own personal platform. So if you're in sales, people are looking you up. Even if you're job hunting, people are looking you up on your personal platform. So it's really important to present yourself in the way that you want people to see you, and build your personal credibility through that. But it's also ABCing. Now, we know ABC for always be closing, and that's kind of old style sales, but it's really about always be connecting, always be connecting. So, this is also about surrounding yourself socially, and surrounding the people you want to influence, your buyers, your clients, your customers, surrounding all of those stakeholders. And that means connecting with them on all of their platforms, really kind of like understanding what their personal profile is about and expertise, or what information that they need. And then the first one, or the first pillar was personal credibility. The second was ABCing and surrounding yourself socially. And the third one is content is currency. You may have heard about this before, but what you're putting out, people read. You may not know they're reading it, but they're reading it. And what you're going out looking for is what other people have put out. So content is real currency. It's the kind of lifeblood of helping you to really kind of understand what people are about. And people understand what you're about as well. So you need to be putting it out there, putting out, posting and content out there, so people can build a picture of who you are, and you can build a picture of who they are. And so the fourth pillar is about social listening. This is really important. The content that other people put out gives real indications as to what they're about, but also the posts and the questions that they ask and the platforms that they're on really gives you a picture, builds up a profile of other people, and where the gaps may be, and how you can kind of like support them and help them to fill the gaps in their needs. But also it's important to remember a lot more conferences and events are actually online nowadays, but you don't have to be there to be joining in. If you join in on the hashtag and you listen to the video streaming content that's put out, you can, even if you're not in the room, you can be in the room. You can continue to contribute using the hashtag. But what I often do is like connect with people. I think, oh, that's really interesting what they've said, and I'll connect with them, and then after the event follow up with them. So all of the kind of social listening that can be done online is massive. So you need to be quite targeted as to what you are going to listen to, and be clear about how that fulfills your objectives. So the fifth area is about measurement. Jill's 5 social selling pillars about measurement. Now, without listening and measurement, your social effort cannot be changed and adapted to ensure that your approach is really hitting the target. That's why measurement in the fifth pillar is really, really important. Listening and measurement, so you can constantly get that feedback and adapt your approach with the content that you send out, and who you're connecting with. So they are her 5 pillars. Now, what I wanted to do is like look at, okay, your reptilian brain and the 6 stimuli, be aware of those 5 pillars, but actually kind of like in the sales process, social selling, whether it's offline or online, because the two do work together. Social selling isn't just online. You've really got to pick up the phone and speak to people at some point as well, meet them at conferences. So how this can really aid your whole selling process. And it really is about people, connecting with people. People don't buy from people they don't like. People don't buy from people they don't trust. But the thing is, because we're so busy, there's so much going on, you need to make it really simple, and you need to, as a salesperson, do a lot of the work for other people. And that's how you can use online platforms and technologies to help you to actually do that. But I just wanted to give you some real kind of core tips and ways and strategies and ideas of how you can really kind of use those 6 stimuli in your sales process. Relationship building is about using social networks to power important buyers and customers and users, and brand discussions. That's what it's all about, to really get those discussions going, so you can really create awareness and grow the awareness from awareness to purchase, from purchase to brand ambassador. That's really what you want to do. You want to get people on board, you want to keep them on board, and you want to really embed them into your whole kind of brand and things that you want to do. You want to build those relationships so people really like what you do. That's what you're wanting to do, that so they advocate, they will refer and recommend you. That's what you want to happen. And so social selling techniques simply empowers this process, enables sales teams to leverage this technology, so that of social networks, social platforms, so that they can create real solid human relationships. That's really what it's for. Business to businesses, people to people. You need to build the relationships. You need to build engagement and trust. And that's what social selling enables you to do. So between salespeople and potential buyers and customers, it really helps you to scale your reach. It helps you to really gain real engagement through that human connection that may be carried out online, but also kind of the whole ultimate idea is to get new business in, and to keep your existing customers coming back for more, so you're growing the relationship. What I want you to think about is Gary Vaynerchuk. Gary Vaynerchuk has got a book out called Jab, Jab, Right Hook. Jab, Jab, Right Hook, right? And this simply means give, give, give before you ask. Give, give, give before you ask. That's what it is. And this really kind of lends itself in the way that you give. You're really a salesperson, and that means everyone's in sales in business. So everyone, has really got to be thinking how you can give, give, give. And I've got some strategies for you to do that. You must establish your credibility, which is what we were talking about. What's in it for me, the contrast, all of those things. You do that through your social platforms, building credibility, and always be connecting. All of this kind of works together. But you must establish your credibility and really build your trust before you can ask for anything. And use the 6 stimuli. This is really the shortcut. Use the 6 stimuli in order to really enhance your effectiveness. And so, I'm going to give you my 26 simple bite-sized ways of doing that. So if we look at self-centered, what's in it for me focus, we're looking at that stimuli, the first stimuli. What in sales, what I mean by this is always be connecting with, what can I do for you? How can I help you? This is what your mindset should be. When you connect, you're connecting in order to offer assistance and help. You're finding out more about the other person. So being centered on that other person, that's what it's about. And then, whether offline or online, making connections, making them personal connections, reading their profile, if it's a LinkedIn connection, and, finding areas where you've got some commonality and really kind of commenting on that and bringing that to the fore. What you have in common is really important. That's another shortcut to building trust. If there's things that are important to them that are important to you, this is the human element in it. So being self-centered is really being focused on that other person, but finding out the real connection. But it's also fixing problems quickly for the relationships that you've already got. There's always going to be something that comes up, and it's important to value the relationship so much so that you get onto it and you fix it quickly and you keep the communication going, because it's really all about keeping them happy. Self-centeredness is about keeping them happy. And then really asking for feedback as well. Asking for advice as well, asking for feedback means that your view is really important to me. And when they give you feedback, you need to act on it. You need to act on it really quickly. Well, so that's along with resolving problems, but act on feedback really quickly as well. Again, it's about valuing that other person. So that's the first stimuli. So I've given you about 6 or 7 different things that you can do under, self-centered, me focus, being really aware of, and this is how it kind of plays out. And then under contrast is really about standing out from the crowd. This is like making a clear difference, making them understand what the clear difference is between what you offer and what any other competitors may be offering as well. What is that clear difference? And that's what you need to kind of like demonstrate to them. So it's also about stating your clear difference, but also explaining what's available in the market as well. It's not only your clear difference, but the differences that other people may have. But of course, you're presenting yours as being bigger and better, but it's got to relate to what's important to them rather than what's important to you. You've got to let your brand demonstrate your difference, your clear difference, really. So you've got to follow through. It's not just you, it's also the company that you're representing as well, and what their difference may be as well. So it's really, really important that you kind of demonstrate the clear differences. And then also you've got to clarify how you solve their problem as well. So like understanding their problem in order to clarify how you can solve their problem. But the important thing is to be impersonable, to be true to yourself, to be all you, and not to be corporate, really, because that's what people want to see, and that's really what they trust more than anything. They really trust the real you, and they don't trust things that don't, just doesn't run, really. It doesn't seem authentic or natural. So that's the thing. The contrast is being real, being really you, explain the clear differences. And there's lots of ideas that I've given you with that. Then the third stimuli is tangible. Tangible is about naturally matching and mirroring their body, their tone and their pace, because it's all about them. It's not about you. And making people comfortable, making it easy. Remember, I talked about being bite-sized and step by step. Offer to try before they buy is a great way of making it tangible, making it real, so they can try it and see it and talk about it and draw them into the whole experience of it. And it's also about creating an experience around it as well. You're part of that experience, but when they're actually involved in it and using it and trying it, they're kind of halfway there, really, if they've committed to do that. So try before I buy is a great way of doing that. Great video training and blended learning modules. It may be that a potential existing client has a question. Answer it in video. That it's so easy to do with the online tools that we have. I mean, it's so easy. Answer it in video. Most people are not doing things like that, and that's what you need to do. Whenever I go out and doing a speaking engagement, I'll send them a video, so it'll help to sell the tickets. People get to see me and see my character before I'm actually on stage or doing a training with them, it gives you so much information when it's on video. So like you answer questions by video message is a good way of doing it. You also answer what's it like, or how will it benefit them. That's what they will make it really tangible. When you really have to go the extra mile and not think that they're going to make the connections themselves. You have to make the connections for them. So also illustrate the return on investment and the relevant benefits, results from working with you or using the product or the service. You've really got to make it real. That's what tangibility is all about. So the fourth is the beginning and the end, and it's make every word at the beginning count. I mean, every word should count anyway, but really at the beginning, choose your opening pitch. really, really careful and make sure that they're at the center of it, and not you or your product or your service or your company or your brand. It's really important people know why they're there. Drip feed content and make it bite-sized or step-by-step and really easy. But also stimulate thought by asking questions or asking advice as well. State your objective, have an agenda, follow a plan. So it's really simple for them to actually follow the process. But when buyers are ready, offer them, make them an offer, and then shut up, stop talking. Excuse me, I've seen so many salespeople that have talk themselves out of the sale because they keep talking. Salespeople are often very talkative people, and so they keep going. The best thing is to stop, make the offer, and then stop, because people need time to evaluate and think about it. So just wait until they're the person to, your buyer is the person to say the first next word, and it may be a question, just a bit of clarity that they need, and then that's it. So always make an offer. But your beginning of your is going to be really important, and then the end. So front load information, back load the key relevant information, and the bite size is the bit in between. But it's really the beginning that will dictate whether they're going to listen to the rest of it. So that's why it's really important. So the fifth area is visuals. And visual words as well can really have an impact. Use images like video to convey meaning, and if you can use it as much as possible, get comfortable in front of video. Just practice, doing it in front of a mirror, so that you can get to see what you see on video, and really practice it. So video is a good way to really kind of give a lot of information in a short space of time. But also visual words as well are equally as good, because if you use a visual word like imagine, people start to imagine. That's what they do. If you say see, these are visual words. People will then start looking for things, illuminate, picture, reveal, vision, bright. These are all very visual words. So make sure you layer them into your pitch and help people to really visualize the world that they want, the solution to their problem that they really want. And then the sixth stimuli is around emotion. Emotion is really important, because this is the thing that buyers buy. They buy on emotion, and then they justify on logic. But they're not going to buy if there's no emotion in it at all. And that, I'm not talking about you crying in front of them or anything like that, but it's the words that you use. They've got to feel excited, that that they want to move forward, really want to move forward. They really want to get to where they want to get to, so they've got to feel it along with thinking it. So it's really dependent on the character of the buyer as well, what kind of personality traits that they have, whether they are kind of more big picture, extrovert, introvert, all of that, as to how much you do a lot of this. But by now you should really have a good idea from all the social listening that you've done, the conversations, the interactions that you should really have a very good idea of the type of personality they are, and that will lend itself as to how much of the emotion that you do, how much they need in order to make the decision to actually buy. And it's very much led by them, not about your personality, whether you're introverted or extroverted. That doesn't matter. It's not about you. It's about them, how they receive information, how visual they are, how analytical they may be. And that's how the information that you give, so that they can easily absorb it. So emotion is, you can do this through the storytelling. Take them on a journey, make it short, make it sweet, but take them on a journey. So the classics of storytelling, you can actually look that up. But if you think of all of the great stories that we see on film, they have different accents to them. So that's how you take people on a journey using the emotions. But also you must inspire with emotions in order for the buyer to buy, because buyers buy on emotion. Even if it's business to business, it's still people to people. So, a story makes, your listener feel connected to you. That's what it does. Just like visual words, but stories do. The emotion in the story make them connected to you. So that's why it's really important, to empathize with your customer. You have to understand your customer, or their viewpoint, their characteristics, their personality. But this is, goes is a small bit of human connection, and it's really important. All interactions that you have is a little bit of human connection. So even when you're selling, it's got to be mutually beneficial and nurturing, and you have to connect with people, you have to like people, so it's really important to make sure that you do that, really. Otherwise, what's the point, really? So I really wanted to share with you the 6 stimuli and how you can use the 6 stimuli in your sales process, to help you to really think about your message and how you convey your message and how you make your message really easy for your buyer to understand, to absorb, to appreciate, to engage with, to connect with, and ultimately to buy into, because it's, you've made that connection and they buy it. And so, it will make all the difference in the way that you approach your whole journey around sales. Try to stimulate your sales process. After all, emotion buys, and it's logic that decides. So you have to do the emotional buying bit first. And then the reason why I say make the offer and then stop talking is because the logic will kick in, and it needs time to process it all. Buying gets them to consider, and then logic will actually kick in, and even they'll go through and evaluate all of the information you've given them. But it's the emotion of it. So the 6 stimuli is really based on the old brain. Really is the decision maker, really is the emotional decision maker in all sales. So make sure you tap into that. I hope you found this helpful. Please make sure you comment below. I always love to hear from you, to see what you think and whether you've tried it and it's actually worked, or whether you're using it already and you've had benefits from it. I love to hear from you. So even when after I've posted this, I do go back in and answer your questions. Make sure you connect with me on my channel, whether it's on my YouTube channel or here in my Facebook business page. I love to hear from you. Have a great Wednesday. Stay well. See you soon. Take care. Bye.